Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I want to talk to you about something really exciting and really important that happened this week.
Okay.
We got an email from one of our coaching clients who said, boom, she hit $10,000 a month in sales. This was a major milestone for her. This is where she was shooting. And she got there this month, and we are all doing a happy dance for Amy. Congratulations, Amy.
But it wasn't always that way, was it?
It was not always that way. Amy started working with us a little over a year ago, right about a year ago, I guess. And she had to get her plan together, had to figure out, what this thing was all about. And she was the first one, really, that we did the 6-week challenge with. She was our guinea pig there. And basically, I said, Amy, make sure that you get a shipment with at least 5 test ASINs plus any replens that you have shipped in to Amazon every single week, and make sure you do the 7 core competencies every single week. And she said, all right, challenge accepted. And she started emailing us every week, us and her reactive coach, Gail, who was also participating. She emailed us every week and said, here's what I did. Here's what I didn't do. Here's where I fell short. Here's where I need help. And she was able so much more to be able to identify where she needed help and what the progress that she was actually making. That's sometimes the hardest thing, is the progress, seeing the progress. There's progress. I can see the progress, but you seeing the progress as the client is sometimes a lot harder. And I think this really helped her.
Yeah, Amy was about 4 to 5 months in at that point, if I remember right. And things seemed off. Things seemed messy. The indicators weren't necessarily telling her convincingly that she was doing the right things.
Right. It felt messy, uncomfortable, undefined. It's really hard during that time to be able to define exactly what the progress is. And it's also a time when you're kind of separating the signal from the noise. How much of this matters?
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Well, welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner. Great content, great topic today, Robin Joy, because this is something that we see and a lot of people experience all the time. Right? We see this with our coaching clients. We know this is a very perilous part of the journey. It's like, when you're first starting out, everyone's waving, and cheering you on and saying, go get them. Like if you're at the start of a race, right? Like a foot race or something. But what happens is after you get sort of away from the crowds, there's nobody there cheering you on.
Right. So you can't see the starting line anymore. You can't see the finish line yet. And you're kind of out there feeling like you're on your own. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Well, be clear. We'll probably say finish line multiple times here. But I think let's call that milestone a milestone.
A milestone, right.
Because achieving that.
In a race, there's a finish line. This isn't a race.
Right. And when you're building your business, like a great first milestone is $10,000 a month. And that's exactly what happened to Amy. And
she hit the milestone she was aiming for.
And, we're going to talk about Amy, and we're also going to talk about Gus. Gus has already been on the podcast. Amy's going to be on the podcast soon with Jim. And both of these people are leaders in this organization, making themselves leaders as they progress in the business.
The future is going to see them as leading the pack, I think.
Well, I think this is a great topic just because we see it so much, right? People far smarter than us. Far more capable than us, they get into that middle and they lose confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a lot happening, but there's not necessarily a lot of results happening yet. In fact, I always like to say, give us 12 weeks. Yeah. Give us 12 weeks of consistent 5 new tests every single week shipped in, right? If you can do that, at week 12 is when we actually start putting those pieces of the puzzle together. You're starting to get the signal as versus the noise. And things start falling into place. But if it's been sporadic, in the first 4 to 5 months, as it was for Amy, before the consistency really sets in, then the messages you're receiving back from Amazon, we always say we want to get feedback from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Are also mixed. If your performance is mixed, the results are going to be mixed. And you're like, what to make of this, right?
Right. And it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable to stay in that lane and be consistent there. I got to say, both Amy and Gus, we have had the privilege of working with them and many others who have passed milestones, not all the same milestones, but different milestones that we've been able to see them pass. And, in almost all those cases, these are well-educated people who have already built a career. These are not people who didn't have any other choice. These are people who are working in and around. I mean, Amy takes care of her kids and she invites other children into her home to take care of when they're in need. These are just really, really special people that we're talking about. And I could say these stories about almost everybody that we're working with, how special they are and how privileged I feel to get a little insight into what they're doing in the world. But these two, I'm super proud of. Yeah. They're doing really, really well right now. And it has not always been easy. I remember Amy coming to me and I'd say, hey, Amy, how's it going? Like I always do. How's it going? Tell me what's been going on this week. And she said, well, and we started out like that. And this happened. This is not unusual for this to happen. And when she left that call, I think she felt a little better because she got some direction. She made some commitment during that time. But this is one of the reasons I say, when you feel like you don't want to call your coach because things aren't going so well and you just don't, that's probably exactly when you need to get on that calendar and make an appointment and talk to your coach.
Right. Well, let's jump into the deeper topics today. We're going to talk about why the progress that you're achieving messes with your identity. We're going to talk about this failure. Okay. Why failure is a necessity in this business and how to not treat it personally. And then why that part in the middle, after the starting line, before the finish line, when nobody's there cheering you on.
Before the milestone line.
This is the part that actually this is where most of the work is done, actually. Yeah. When nobody's cheering you on.
This is the work that makes a difference.
Yeah. When you're doing these activities. All right. Well, let's talk about why smart people stall when the path actually works. Like, we know that the path works.
Yeah. Like you've always said, we've solved for the how.
And just off script here, I think we've got something.
We being the greater community.
Yeah. The community has solved for the how. And as the business has progressed into a much more modern state of doing business, right? We talk about how, old school methods, you can still do them, but you're working 10 times as hard as someone who's doing the modern approach today. And with a modern approach today, sourcing is solved. Like, sourcing itself is a non-issue.
Sourcing, matching up ASINs with sources, that can be done automatically, easily. I could name you 3 tools right now that will do that for you. It is not that grind that it used to be. And it doesn't have to be.
I was going to say,
you don't have to carry that burden around.
Let's do a whole other episode on why sourcing is solved. Okay, but assuming sourcing is solved, not assuming it, I'll prove it to you. Sourcing is solved. Then it's the other parts of the business that you need to focus on, right? And this is what usually, like, the first hurdle was the sourcing that you had to get over. And then once you got over that, well, then you felt like you could do anything. Today, if that's done for you, then kind of knowing what to expect in the rest of the business is where we would focus, right? Okay, so people don't stall at this stage from lack of information. Usually, right? Unless it's lack of consistent information coming back from Amazon. But the progress is actually potentially threatening who you are. This is something that I want to...
And who I've always been and how I've believed life has to go.
Because, like, especially for me, I'm just going to speak for myself here instead of saying you or others, right?
Okay, tell us your story.
Speaking for myself, when I start doing something like this Amazon business and I find success in a relatively short amount of time, and I'm not saying it's easy, by the way, especially back in those days, like before sourcing was solved, there was nothing easy about it, right? Not that it was complex. It was just not, it wasn't
like... It was a grind.
It was a grind, right? Even still, with the grind in a 6-month window of time, we were able to create a business that was generating 10, 15, and by the end of the year, within 8 months, $20,000 a month in revenue. Okay. what does this say about the whole rest of my life? That
if I could have done this.
I'm just going to say I was, 7 years ago. Okay. I was 50 years old at that point. I know. I was born back in the 1900s. And I had struggle. Okay. If at least for 30 years of a professional career.
Yeah.
And easily 40 years, of when I sort of grew out of being a kid and had no cares or responsibilities. And life was hard. I had this in my head. Life was hard. It was hard. I had struggled so much to get to where I was. And yet in a 6-month window of time, I was able to.
All of a sudden you were finding success in something you'd never tried before.
So this challenged my whole identity.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say, right? This is game changing from wait a second. If this is working in a relatively short amount of time, there must be something wrong.
Right.
Okay. There must be something not right.
So you were suspicious.
I was suspicious. Yeah. You think that's fair? I think I was suspicious.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people feel like. They're like, wait a second. I'm producing X amount a month of revenue.
Yeah.
I'm producing X amount a month of profit. And I really just scratching the surface because let's face it, when people come to us, they say, oh, I got 15, 20 hours or whatever. But really, you don't need that kind of time. Right? You need.
Well, yeah, let's grow into that. Like people say all the time, I got 15, 20 hours. That's great. I'm glad you have that. But let's grow into that. You're not going to be able to just flip a switch and go 15 hours a week and take care of everything in your life that you haven't used those 15 hours in the last 10 years or whatever.
So I think there's a lot of people who reach that same point and they go, I must need to make it harder.
Yeah.
Right? I
must be missing something.
I must be missing something because.
We hear that a lot. I must be missing something.
Yeah. And so when you're sort of outgrowing yourself, I guess, like that, it's an interesting paradigm to be in because all the success that you're experiencing is challenging all the way that the rest of your life has been built. I'm putting built in air quotes here, right? You've built your whole life around hard. You've built your whole life around struggle, if you're like me, you being me, of course. I had built my whole life around, those constructs. And so then like I said, in a relatively short amount of time, able to come in and start producing $250,000, $500,000 a year business is like, whoa, wait a second. What have I been missing all this time or what am I missing right now?
If this is true, how come I didn't know this way before I was 50 years old?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's tough to, sort of communicate with your old support structure or your old support structure too, when it comes to friends and family and acquaintances and the whole like, oh, have you made $1 million yet?
We've heard that a time or two.
Yeah. And, as Jim had a great post this morning, you don't need to start this business to make $1 million. We talk a lot about, car payment money, house payment money, medical bill money, education money. There's a lot of, you don't have to build a 7-figure business here.
Right.
You can generate a few extra $100 a month or a few $1,000 extra a month or $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 a month if you want to. Right. The scale is up to you.
It's very forgiving that way. You can really scale up or keep it smaller.
Yeah.
There are points where economies of scale really help, but it doesn't have to be that big to get those.
So when I start looking at the success and then sort of like reflecting that against my old support system, it doesn't line up. And I think that a lot of people experience this too, which is why they go, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And Amy was in that exact same position, right? She was doing all the right things.
And making progress.
And she was progressing. Her numbers were improving. But I would say it was the 6-week sprint that we turned her loose, that you challenged her on. And she took up the challenge. I love getting those emails, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I almost want to make it like a lifetime sprint because I love getting them every week from people.
I know, right?
Right.
Right. And I can it helps me see so much where that person is when they're explaining to me what's going on and what they've accomplished. And they can start seeing the progress there. But I've told Amy and I tell people this all the time. I know you're going to do it. I believe you're capable and willing and tough enough and smart enough. I see it. I'm just waiting for you to see it. And these are the things that coaches can help you with, can help you really see in yourself something that you can't give yourself permission for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lot of what we do, is keep giving you permission until you can give yourself permission.
That's right. That's right. And this is the main reason we say, like, the longest distance that you have to travel in this business, or the biggest learning curve that you have to bridge the gap in, is here between your ears. And it's not the learning that you have to, we're not talking about the mechanics and the strategies and all that.
Yeah, you're smart enough for that. That's not a problem.
That's the easy part, right? Those things are easy.
Yeah.
The struggle for some people, myself included, is
me too.
The traversing I have to do in there relative to what I was just talking about. The structure that I have in my life that, was built around struggle and hard and don't fail, right? Compared to what are we doing now?
Yeah.
And so, and reconciling that.
Well, yeah. And I tell people, some of you have been in Kickstart with me, and one of the things that I mention when I'm talking about, the things that have to be done and kind of have an overall of what works, it's hard. There are hard things about it, but I don't see anybody in there who's afraid of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
We're not afraid of hard work. We will work hard. What we're uncomfortable with is that we have to decide what's important. We have to allow ourselves to progress, and we have to keep ourselves from shooting ourselves in the foot all the time. Don't take it back. When you have some success, when you have some progress, don't give it back. Claim it.
And the question that always seems to surface for me, or, was a big question for me, was, okay, what does this relatively fast progress say about my 50 years of life before that, right?
Yeah. And it didn't feel fast the first few weeks.
Heck, no, it didn't. It felt like it was taking forever. Because why? Because somehow we come into this with these expectations that I'm going to find a product and sell it and become a millionaire, right?
And that's going to be that.
Yeah. And
business just doesn't work that way.
Well, ask Thomas Edison how that goes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can...
He had the idea. He knew what he wanted.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what was it? 1,000 times.
Or however many. You can do that in this business too. Yeah. You can launch product after product after product until you find the one that hits a home run.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
But
in the arbitrage business, you got to test what will work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where testing is important. You have to test things to see what you can replenish.
Yeah. So when we start to experience that early success, we're like, some of us have a hard time accepting that. So we start to make it harder than it needs to be. I must be missing something, right?
Right.
I think that's where Amy was, like, and you were more or less like, you gave her a shot in the arm. Like, no, you are there. You got to you got to go. You're
mash on the gas, as my daddy would say.
Yeah, mash on that gas, because you're right in that where nobody can see you, okay, and you can't see the start line or the finish line, or the milestone line, and that's where we see people fall off. We had a whole episode early on about where we see the risks, where the risks are in the business, where it gets perilous for people, and that is a very perilous.
That
spot.
Middle, that $5,000 or $6,000 a month.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to get that milestone of $10,000 a month in sales, that's a risky area.
Yep.
And Amy went through that just like everybody else does. And the only way she didn't avoid it, she didn't get past it. She went through it, and that's the only way you get there. She mashed on the gas, and she met her goal.
Yeah.
It was within a couple of months of saying, you got to go.
Yes. Right. All of a sudden, boom, it was moving, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about this next thing, which is like this idea of, avoiding failure in our lives. And of course, I'm, a shining example of that. Probably it was drilled into my head when I was a kid. I may have told the story before. I think that maybe set the tone, which was, I live in Colorado, and we've got Pikes Peak, America's Mountain in Colorado Springs, which is the town I grew up in. And I was like 12, 13 years old, maybe a little bit older. And I was like, I'm going to do the Pikes Peak Marathon. And my parents talked me out of it because they didn't want to see me fail.
Right.
Okay. And
as parents do. Because they love you.
Yes. They're like, oh, we don't want his little heart to get crushed. Right.
Right.
And the best thing for me, quite honestly, could have been to let my little heart get crushed. But anyway, so that kind of taught me to avoid Possible failures, right? But the reality is, if we're going to try until we find the success mechanism or the success track, then failure is encouraged, expected. If you're not failing, you're not doing it right.
Agree. When it comes to testing, if some of your tests aren't failing, they're not really tests.
That's right.
They're not. But testing is your way of purchasing the information that you need in order to know what to replenish.
That's right. It's not like, don't think of test as it is a purchase, but guess what? You can almost always get your money back too.
Yeah. If you build a framework around it and only purchase the ones who protect what's important.
Which is your capital, while giving you the opportunity to learn at the same time.
Then you're not losing anything.
And I just got to take a minute and say, this is the basis, the structure behind PATH, the book that we wrote and the methods that we teach in the coaching program: prospect, assess, test, and harvest. It's all about safe. So prospecting is solved for. That's the sourcing part, right? Putting ASINs and sources together.
Yep.
Assessing is the criteria that you apply to say, should I test this or not? Which is the framework, the 3-step check. We put on that, the pre-flight inspection, the bridging the gap, and the 3-step check, all get you to get you through prospect and assess, right? Then test and harvest. Test and harvest.
The test part is real.
It is real.
I mean, we gloss over that. Oh, it's a test. I sent in a bunch of tests. Okay, what is your testing process?
Yeah.
Like, what is a test to you? The testing is, in my opinion, the very most important part of that whole process.
It is. And what do we see a lot of people do when they're going through testing?
They manipulate the test.
Why?
Because they're afraid it won't do what they want it to do. They can't accept that a test might not be replenishable. It might not give them the results that they want. And we see it a lot. Well, I sent this in and then the price tanked. Okay. The other sellers lowered their price for whatever reason. Yep. Did they lower your price? No, but I think I should. Okay. They don't have control over your price. And it won't be a test if you start lowering your price. It won't be a test. Now, we've already decided before we tested what we're going to do if it doesn't work out. We've already decided how long we're going to test and what we're going to put into it. Why do we break it? Because of something someone else did.
You wrote a great Substack article on this. I just want to chat for a minute about it. It's called the panic pricing. Panic pricing versus prime window pricing. And I know we've all been on these listings where we sent in a test, and then within a week or two, all of a sudden we see 10, 15, 20 new offers show up on that thing, and the price starts going down. And you're like, oh, shoot, I'm caught in the middle of this race to the bottom. Okay. What you learn as you're going through this is that hopefully, okay, if you don't know it now, if you didn't know it before, know it now. Okay. And that is this. From your own experience that when you show up as an offer on that listing, your inventory is not even close to being available prime for any shopper.
So sometimes.
Most of the time. Okay. Most of the time.
Okay.
Sometimes it's true. And sometimes
on the faster moving like
sometimes you will get a sale even when your delivery date is not within the prime window. That happens all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay. But there's panic window pricing and there's prime window pricing. Panic window pricing is when you start panicking, reacting to everybody else's panic window pricing. Because if we're in the situation where you sent in your product and all of a sudden 15 other people sent in their product too, do you think their product is available before yours?
No,
it's not. It's not.
You wouldn't have a product available before it got there if anybody else did.
Yeah, right.
Right. So this is your signal. It's available, but I don't have it in my available column. Somebody can buy it, but it's going to be 10 days out. That's my signal. Stop. Don't do anything. Everybody else is going to do something. A lot of the repricers cannot see this. I haven't met a repricer yet that can see this, that I'm convinced. So their repricers are kicking in. Other sellers are kicking in. They don't understand the concept. But if you wait and you become the only person eventually, once your inventory arrives within the prime window, you get that prime badge, you often get the
premium pricing,
the buy box, no matter how much higher your price was than the others. So that extra couple of weeks that you had to wait while it goes through FC transfer or whatever, worth it.
I challenge you, if you end up in that situation, to go out there and look at the offers and look at the delivery dates. Now, granted, you're only going to see it for your, zip code that you have plugged in there.
Remember, there's different for everybody.
But you can, as a shopper, go in and change zip code, like try Seattle, try Houston, try Miami, try New York, right?
As a delivery,
as the zip codes, right? And see how it changes the buy box for you.
Yeah.
It will be an eye opener. Okay. By the way, officialolsons.substack.com, or just look up Official Olsons on Substack. You'll find that article. I think it's well worth the read. One of the best pieces that you've put out. I love it.
Thank you. And you just put a note out that has a diagram of that is really, really explanatory too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is important to understand that this is how we win. We study. We make sure that we understand what's going on and we support each other in community. And that's how this community is doing well. And many, many people in this community are doing very well. And we're winning.
So just to go back to what spawned that whole sidebar, which was the manipulation, the test manipulation, right? The whole point of the test is to let it exist in its scientific environment.
Right.
You
only have defined variables, and that's the only variables you get.
Yeah. And you walk through this very specific 4-week testing protocol that does require
planned ahead of time.
Manual repricing. Oh, wow. If you're doing this five ASINs a week, you're going to have 20 or so manual tests to do every week. Manual reprices, I'm sorry.
But if you've already decided what that's going to be, it doesn't take, a few minutes. No,
you already know. You just go boom, boom, plug in the number, plug in the number, plug in the number. That's assuming nothing sells.
Yeah.
If it does sell, then boom, you got your price.
Replenish. Yeah.
Price discovered, right? That's what we're looking for, is that price discovery
exactly.
point.
We're looking for what I can sell it at, regardless of what the data I could get before I tested said. Right. Now I'm getting more data.
And we only do this on ASINs where it looks like we can protect our capital. Okay, no guarantees.
Right.
We can have 4 years worth of data that says the price has never gone below blah, and then Amazon can show up tomorrow.
Sure.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
And they're selling it for the same price that you bought it for, and
which
they're not going
away. Which is why we don't do one at a time.
That's right. We don't test one thing at a time. We're testing
because we need
5.
some balance.
Yeah, 5 minimum.
Minimum of 5.
Yeah. So anyway, the point I love about this is you're going to get some failures there, and you should.
Yeah.
Okay? There are things that are beyond your control when you're doing this business, and those things are going to happen. And also, you're going to not be great at reading Keepa charts in the early days. Not that it takes a large amount of skill, but you're going to go, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, I saw that before, right? But only if you have. And,
right.
And you have to get through the whole thing in order to say, I have seen this before.
Agreed. People come into Kickstarter a lot of times and they're like, okay, I have to learn Keepa. Keepa is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Yeah.
Experience is the most important thing.
That's right.
Experience will tell you what Keepa meant by that chart. Experience will tell you how these Keepa charts are the same and how they're different. Experience is the only thing that tells you. I can't teach you that.
Do you remember those the cereal boxes? There'd be like a treasure map on the back, and inside the box would be like a secret decoder ring or something like that. To me, the Keepa chart just by itself is like the treasure map.
Yeah.
Okay, not every Keepa chart is a treasure. I get that, but really, then the secret decoder ring is your experience in that. The chart comes alive, becomes far more meaningful when you are in it.
It really, really does, and this is why when you watch people who are experienced, you go, How does he have a feel for that? Oh, you can have that feel too when you get that experience. And there's only one way to get that experience.
Yeah.
Do it. Practice. Get it going.
So just to wrap up this point, because I know we've belabored it a little bit, but when we're doing testing, you can say we're buying information, but the truth is most of the time you're going to get your money back. So it's like a rebate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put your money out, but then you get your cash back too, right? Cash back rebate.
You get your replenishables,
yes,
and you get your money back on the ones that aren't replenishable.
That's why I love that system. I think the process is awesome. All right, well, that's where kind of Amy was, right? She was in that middle.
Yeah.
Where her interpretation of what was happening was maybe not spot on because she hadn't been there before. So she's like, this is what I'm seeing. Is this
she was looking for clarity.
Yeah, she was looking for confirmation too, right?
Uh-huh.
So failure is not a verdict. It really is feedback. Yeah. And you are looking for that feedback. And so when you get a failed test, one of two things can happen. Either the whole thing does go against you and you lose some or all of your capital. Mm-hmm. That's a very real possibility.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you chased it.
Yeah, right. Especially if you chased it, if you started panicking, right? Mm-hmm. I guess there were three things that could happen. Or it didn't pass the test, but it still sold for break even or a little bit of profit, but not enough for you to consider replenishing it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Or number three, boom, you discovered a price that was at or above your minimum profit goal and you are replenishing.
Yep. Okay. Every test should come out one of those ways.
Yeah. So if nothing's failing, you're not moving
not
right.
Not everyone will. Yeah. Right. You're not moving fast enough if you're not having some tests fail. In fact, in the beginning, a lot of your tests are going to fail. That's part of the road you're going down. But you still get a sale. And in the beginning, you need a sale.
Yep.
You need those sales to open up more choices, which will give you more chances to get more profit.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into the last segment here, which is this... we were talking about the hills are the way, right? It's something we've talked about before. And the messy middle is actually where things get done. Okay. And I want to share a story that I got permission from Gus, and we got permission from Gus and Amy both to use their names. Because typically we don't name coaching clients on here. But I thought both of their stories were so impactful. It was worth getting their permission to do it. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, Gus, for what I'm about to share. And, when you guys decide to be coaches, you know who to come to.
That's right. That's right. You're going to be seeing these people around. Yeah.
So Gus is relating his experience to me on a fairly recent coaching call. It was before the holidays, I think. And he's telling me about his first time going to college, right? After high school. His dad set him up for college where he didn't have to do anything other than just focus on his schoolwork, right? And so he had nothing but time to do school. And so what happened? Can you guess?
He didn't do much.
He didn't do school. I don't know exactly what happened.
He felt like he had plenty of time and didn't get it in there.
Right. And he didn't.
He was unfocused.
It didn't go so well, primarily because he was unfocused, right? Yeah. He had too much time on his hands.
Yeah.
I think, I wasn't in that position as a college student, but I can see how that can play out. I have plenty of friends who experience that as well, right? Ask me how I crammed 4 years into 7, and I'll tell you it wasn't because I was unfocused. It just, maybe a little unfocused for a while. But anyway.
The point is, when you have constraints, sometimes that helps you aim.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So the first time around didn't go so hot because all you had to do was focus on schoolwork. Well, attempt number 2 was different. Okay, attempt number 2, Gus came in with a job. He came in having to take care of himself, right? Or choosing to. I don't know if that was it.
He was paying rent. He had a job. He had other responsibilities, and he had to fit it in.
Right. So what happened for his time available for school?
Yeah.
Got smaller.
Yeah.
All of a sudden
now. So he knew what he had to accomplish in those few hours.
When he sat down to do his studying for the week or whatever, in fact, I think he said something pretty close to, when I had a paper due on Monday and I was off work Thursday night and Friday night, that's what I was doing because that was the only time I had to do it. Right.
Whereas before you would have said, I got till Monday.
I got till Monday. Yeah. Class is at 2. All right. I guess I better get started. It's 8:30 in the morning. Right. Yeah. Right. So, when you have limited amount of time, when you have constraints, I think it does a couple of things for you. The unlimited time, unlimited freedom creates a lot of mental noise.
Yes.
We experience this a lot.
We do.
As I've had some time off around the holidays, and I've been at home more.
Yeah.
And, I would say when I'm leaving to go to the office on most days, we've got a compact amount of time in the morning that we spend together. And we get so much done.
We do.
In that time period. like 30 to 40 minutes max. And we get boom, boom, boom. We got a lot of things that we got things that we want to say that we got to get out, and we got to be super efficient. When we have all day to do that same thing, it's not the same experience.
It creeps.
And it doesn't force things out of you, right?
Well, I mean, it goes back to, as much as I can. Well, I'll do as much as I can. How much are you going to do this? As much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a plan.
Right.
As much as I can is not a plan. It's spread.
Yeah.
It's scope creep. It's as much as I can doesn't tell me whether I've accomplished what I set out to or not. When I say I have all day and I'll do as much as I can, I don't get any more done than when I have 45 minutes and I make sure that everything's important gets in that 45 minutes.
Exactly. So constraints help to reduce overthinking because you don't have all day to think about it because you are doing other things.
And you get done what's important.
Yeah.
What's the priority? You figure out what the priorities are.
Also, this kind of, work from if it's a creative or you got to focus a lot to do because it requires a lot of mental clarity, that's tiring on your old noggin, right?
Yeah.
So having these other things in place, the job, I got to go shopping, I got to do the things, right? That are probably
spend time with my family,
right?
Eat dinner.
That gives your brain time to rest and recuperate so that when you do sit down to do that work, you can be sharper and more focused.
Yeah. It reminds me of a story I heard about, I think it was NASA, that had their people do a 29-minute nap in the middle of the day.
Okay.
So they were working all these hours and doing all this,
26. It was
26. It was 26. You're right.
Yeah.
Focused work. Like you really, no kidding, you can't make a mistake kind of work. And they found that the people who powered through to get it done were not nearly as efficient as the people who took 26 minutes off to go and rest and essentially take a nap and come back to it. That there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to plan those times in as well. If it's just an open plan, it does never work as well.
So I would say if you're in the middle, like if you're where Amy was or, Gus in the case of the school story, put some structure in place and don't spend as much time as you need, right?
Yeah.
Put some limits on it. Constraints will actually help you a ton.
Yeah. And I would say, don't just say, well, I'm going to do work on my business.
Yeah.
Really detail, what am I going to do during this hour? Assign that hour with a task or two or however many fit.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's just chat about a recap real quick. Okay. So you're going back to that initial thing about reconciling my hard and struggle life.
Yeah.
Reconciling that versus the, relatively fast success I was experiencing. That is your early ceiling that you need to manage, right? We see it a lot. You're going to come up against this, like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense to me because it needs to be hard. I need to scream and yell about it. I need to cry about it. I need to struggle, right? And if you're following the process, it's not, you could certainly have moments where you want to scream, but,
sure.
Ask anyone who wakes up to a Section 3 notice from Amazon, like, wah!
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And how many people do we know that have plowed right on through that, got to the other side?
Yeah. In fact, yeah, it happens, right?
Right.
The failure along the way are your checkpoints almost, right?
Yeah.
If you're not failing, you're not progressing.
Mm-hmm.
And that work, once you leave the starting line, before you can see the finish line, in the middle, when there's nobody cheering you on except for you and your coach, if you have one, is where the real progress is happening.
Yeah, that's what matters. The beginning doesn't matter. The milestone doesn't matter if you can't make it through the middle.
That's right. So I think progress can feel uncomfortable right before it seems obvious.
Yeah.
Right. I think Amy would fess up to that same thing.
I think she
would.
would.
She was like, something doesn't feel right here. And then 6-week sprint, and was like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, that's exactly the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah. So do you have a quote for us today, Brian?
I do have a quote for us today. We're going way, way back in the annals. Yes.
Yes.
This quote's from Marcus Aurelius. Mm-hmm. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
So you mean he said in 2 sentences what we've been trying to say for 30 minutes?
That's usually what happens.
That's usually what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how that goes.
We can go on, and someone like Marcus Aurelius is like, just get to the point, man. Right? But I mean, look at it. 2,000 years ago, someone had figured this out. Right? The obstacle is not what's blocking your path. The obstacle is the way. Mm-hmm. The hills are the way.
Right.
And so in the middle, when it's all messy, when it feels like this is your problem, that's actually the work. That's the work.
That's the work.
It feels messy because you haven't done it before. Mm-hmm. Pretty soon, it's going to be second nature. Mm-hmm. So when it starts feeling messy for you, I guess I would challenge you, go on a 6-week sprint. Log every single one of the 7 core competencies that you do every week.
Yeah.
Right? And for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you want to send it to us, send it to us. We'll be
absolutely.
happy to read it.
We'll
be absolutely happy to read it. But do it, right? Just so that you can start to feel how everything is falling into place.
Yeah. And I got to say, Amy didn't, like I said before, she didn't get past the middle. She didn't avoid the middle.
Mm-hmm.
She got through by staying in it.
Yep.
And staying in it and keeping going until she got to the milestone.
You know, we do continual improvements in our business every quarter.
Yep.
And there are times when we will make improvements and then sales go down.
Yep.
And sometimes that's expected.
Yep.
And sometimes it's unexpected. But I always relish the opportunity when that happens because it's a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's like a failure on a larger scale, mm-hmm. right? Like the whole business doesn't fail, but why did we drop 75K this month, right?
This is golden information.
Yeah.
This is true data, usable data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every failed test, every flat week that you experience, even those little moments of doubt when I go, oh, why did our sales drop like that? Okay, this is not the problem. This is the way. Mm-hmm. This is the progress.
So what do you do when you feel like you're getting stuck in the middle and you feel like you're wondering what's noise and what's signal? Am I missing something? What do you do?
I think I know the answer to that.
Do you?
Go test more ASINs.
That's right. Everybody's shouting at us right now. Go test more ASINs. So let's do that.
Let's go test more ASINs. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's episode. But before I let you go, let's spend a couple minutes with a good friend of mine, Mr. Jeff Schick of jeffschick.com. For a few dollars a month, you can put his whole team on retainer, and they take care of Amazon policy, legal, or all of e-commerce challenges that might come your way, policy and legal. But he always has a good tip for us. Jeff, what's on your mind today, buddy?
So I want to talk about generative AI. And so just some things to think about when people are using generative AI tools. And, if for those that are not aware, generative AI includes, ChatGPT, XAI, any of the big AI platforms that you might use to create documents or create any sort of, anything. So for that matter, it's considered generative AI. So there's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One is it is about intellectual property and just, if you're using generative AI to make listings, just some things to watch out for. And then the second aspect of it is Amazon account health. So we have had a rise of, so I'll start with that one first. We've had a rise of people trying to use ChatGPT to submit appeals to Amazon and Walmart. The problem with that is that a lot of times, the appeals can be good if you know what you're saying. Like if you want to use AI to craft a paragraph and you know exactly what you want that paragraph to say, that's a good use of AI. But what we see people doing now, which is, I would say, is a bad use of AI, is they're going to ChatGPT and they're typing in, my Amazon account is suspended, write a plan of action for me. And then they just let ChatGPT take the wheel. And the problem is that ChatGPT is getting its information from somewhere. You don't know where. It's not going to tell you where it's getting it from. And so it may draft the best looking appeal in the world, except for the fact that it doesn't actually address what Amazon's looking for. Right. And so you've now submitted something that's not valid. So when I tell people it's okay to use GPT in appeals, it's okay to use it in a structured format. So don't go to it saying, write an appeal. Go to it saying, I was late shipping products because I didn't have a schedule in place for shipping stuff on time. Help me write a paragraph that explains how that happened and how I fixed it. That's a good use of AI. And then you refine the prompts too, like, okay, you wrote this paragraph for me now. I need to strengthen the corrective actions I'm taking. Here's what I'm doing. And then like it gets it from, your speak to, more of a natural language model. That's a good use of AI. But what you don't want to do is just go to it and just say, write me appeal and then copy it and paste the entire thing into Amazon.
Very good.
Yeah.
I've seen, I've had disappointing results. We're not going to dive off into the AI world, but there's been times where it very confidently gave me very wrong information.
Right.
And just blatantly false, bad stuff. I mean, it's very impressive, but don't think that it's the end all be all fix all replacement for a good pair of eyes looking it over from a legal perspective with, thousands of cases of experience, which is what you and your team bring to the table.
Exactly. And similarly, beyond the appeals, when you want to think about intellectual property, as more sellers are getting into private label or creating listings, it's just important to remember that AI is getting its data from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so you have to watch out because sometimes AI will inadvertently engage in intellectual property infringement. So like a good example is had a private label seller that was selling remanufactured cartridges for laser printers. Mm-hmm. Well, their generative AI came up with a product detail page centered around laser jets. Now, the problem with that is that many of us have heard the term laser jet. What the seller didn't realize and what HP taught them was that HP owns the trademark for laser jet, and they were selling remanufactured Brother printer cartridges. So a Brother printer cartridge for a laser printer is not a LaserJet because they do not have the trademark for LaserJet, which would be an HP product. Right. So generative AI had very confidently written up this great product detail page, dropping LaserJet in all the bullet points and all the descriptions. And so, when you're using AI, it can be a great help for writing stuff, but make sure you look through it just for that infringement. Think about where it got stuff from. If there's unique terms that sound cool, it didn't invent them for you. It came from somewhere.
Yes.
So you want to look it up and try to figure it out,
And that's all. It could have avoided a whole lot of heartache. And I imagine a nice check they had to write had they just worked with you on retainer and run it past you first.
Exactly.
$2 per month. You put Jeff Schick and his team on retainer. Yeah. Great tips today, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. You've got to use AI through an educated lens. And I think you can help a lot of people with the tips you gave us today. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Jeff. Have you back next week if that's all right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.